Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Tonight, we talk about the huge start of both the women's and men's basketball seasons, Week 9 NFL drama, and the hottest teams in the NBA. So get ready, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam dunk! Oh, that's a poster.
Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Hello, everyone. I'm Ava Mayers.
And I'm Aiden Hatton. Marquette Nation, we have an upset. The Marquette men's basketball team knocked off number 10 Illinois with a final score of 67-66.
Tyler Peters covers the historic night.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of an upset. The Marquette men's basketball team takes down number 10 Illinois 67-66 in stunning fashion, marking the first win over a ranked opponent in the Shaka Smart era.
Not a lot of people outside our locker room gave us much of a chance to win this game, playing against a top 10 team. But the guys believed.
It's a back-and-forth first half as both teams struggle to put down shots, but it's Marquette that goes into halftime with a 28-27 lead. Things pick up early on in the second half, at least for one team, as U of I hits 3 after 3, marching to a 12-point advantage. But Illinois' momentum doesn't last long, however, as Marquette claws its way back into the game, trailing by 1 with just under 2 minutes to play. With 18 ticks remaining, redshirt first-year guard Tyler Kolek forces a steal, drives through the lane, and puts up the game-winning layup to give Marquette the stunning victory.
But I saw that, the guy's head was turned. I just ran up, tried to make a play, and that was that.
Strong defensive play serves as a key factor for Marquette, forcing 26 Illinois turnovers.
Our guys just hung in there, and it's human nature to get frustrated when some plays aren't going your way on the offensive end. But as a team that has a desperation to win, you can't allow that to affect defense. And I thought our guys throughout the game did not let it affect our defensive end.
For the third game in a row, graduate student guard Daryl Morcell finishes the match, leading the Golden Eagles in points, this time with 21.
Our theme of the week was just audacity. And I just like how we had the audacity to, to stay confident and find a way to get that win today.
Marquette's next match comes in the Shriners Children's Charleston Classic against Ole Miss. Reporting from Pfizer Forum, I'm Tyler Peters, Marquette Wire Sports.
And with that, we would now like to bring on sports audio producer Matt Yazel to give us more insight on the upset victory. Matt, thanks for being here.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
We have to start where the Golden Eagles pulled off that huge upset against number 10 ranked Illinois Monday. What were your initial reactions from the victory?
Well, first of all, Ian, great to be talking basketball with you again. I'm feeling a little deja vu with us being on the call at Marquette Radio last night. But what a night. I mean, the number 10 team in the country comes into Pfizer Forum, the third game of the season for this brand new Marquette men's basketball program in this Shaka Smart era, with all these players who really haven't experienced anything like this, at least at Marquette. And for them to pull out this victory in a game, it was tight the whole way. They fell behind by as much as 12 in the second half and were still able to stay strong and come back from that and have some huge clutch plays at the end over a really good team, a team that was a number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament last year, a team that's expecting to be there once again this year. And Marquette took them down on their home floor in front of their home fans. It's just a huge statement win by this Marquette program.
And a huge factor was the defense, as Marquette forced 26 turnovers against Illinois, the team's most this season. How big was the team's defense down the stretch, Matt?
It was huge, and that's what Shaka Smart preaches. That's what he's famous for in his coaching career, both at VCU and Texas prior to Marquette, and now he's brought that here. We haven't seen that from Marquette in the last few years. We did not see in particular, a full court press. We did not see that at all with Steve Wojciechowski, and now Shaka Smart has implemented that here at Marquette. The guards are putting a ton of pressure all the way full up the court, and then you got guys like Kirk Queth down low, swatting 5 blocks last night, getting the crowd going, and just the Illinois head coach Brad Underwood talked afterwards, just saying you're not going to win a game when you have that many turnovers. And I think Coach Smart and the rest of the Marquette defenders love to hear things like that, and I think they want to keep putting the pressure on throughout this season.
100%. And just like we just saw in the highlight, redshirt first year Tyler Kolek's steal at the end helped seal the win, was the biggest play of the night. Was that the most important play of the night in your minds?
Oh, absolutely. I almost lost my voice on the call. I mean, that was a big moment for a guy like that. In the situation, they were down by 2, or the shot clock was just 2 seconds lower than the game clock. Theoretically, you'd probably foul as they're down and then try to come back from that. But for him to step up in that situation, he's been great on the defensive end, guarding the other guards and the other team. And to step up huge in that situation and then to finish on the other end with Marquette down to put them up, it was definitely the play of the night. It's the loudest Fiserv Forum has been in a long time for a Marquette game. And I think just it shows really how important he has been in particular to this team. I think he's been a surprise. He's become really a fan favorite already, a primary ball handler, a great passer, and as I mentioned, a great defender, and he showed all of that on that play.
You mentioned it. We have to talk about that crowd. We were in the broadcast booth upstairs on Marquette Radio, but the energy down in Fiserv Forum was insane during the game, especially the student section. Was the crowd one of the reasons that Marquette was able to secure the victory?
Absolutely. I mean, it was a fun crowd overall. I think some Illinois fans there actually made it an even better atmosphere with, the dueling fan bases trying to be louder than each other. And I think the student section took on that challenge on both ends of the court. It was packed, and they came up for their team. I mean, they really showed out. It was the loudest. None of these players on this team have, other than Greg Elliott, have experienced a Marquette game with fans in Fiserv Forum. And now to have that moment for all of them, they see what it's like. And they know what they're striving for, what they can achieve at this university. And I think the crowd really had their backs. I think this fan base is really, they have Shaka Smart's back. He has the fan base's support. And I expect more good crowds like this season.
Well, great stuff, Matt. As always, thanks for coming on. When we come back, we'll be discussing the dominant start to the women's basketball season. So keep it here right after the break.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Aiden Hatton.
And I'm Ava Mayers.
The Marquette women's basketball team wraps up its 3-game homestand to open the season yesterday afternoon.
Last Friday, the Golden Eagles hosted New Jersey Institute of Technology and won easily by 32 points. Molly Gretzlock has more.
An explosive crowd and Marquette women's basketball team showed up against the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Marquette surges past NJIT 90-58 with plenty of cheering from fans as 2 Gold Eagles set new career bests.
Just thrilled about the win tonight. I thought there were a lot of people who contributed. Just really thrilled with Chloe Murata's performance. Almost had a triple-double, and she's always been a player for us that does all the little things. So just to see her filling up a stat sheet tonight was great.
Marquette breaks out of a neck-and-neck start to the game to find their groove, quickly ending the first quarter up by 12. Lead scorer, graduate student guard Kristen McLaughlin drains 3 shots from beyond the arc to enter halftime 45-26.
Just to have their motors on the glass, I thought that was the difference in the first half. I thought we were cleaning up some misses and getting extra possessions. I think that's how the lead initially grew.
The Golden Eagles outscored the Highlanders 18-12 inside the paint in the third quarter.
One thing that they're pretty good at is back screens, which is something that we really focused on blowing up in practice. So I think just keeping that mindset of, covering communication, covering for each other and covering that drift pass.
Marquette adds 24 more points in the final quarter, securing its second win of the season. Sophomore forward Liza Carlin sets a new career high of 10 rebounds.
That's definitely something I worked on a lot in preseason, postseason last year. So, just getting that positioning and making sure to box out every single time.
Marquette concludes its 3-game homestand on Monday against Southern University. Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, I'm Molly Gretzlock, Marquette Wire Sports.
Marquette carries its momentum from Friday's victory into its match against Southern University. Again, Molly Gretzlock tells us more.
A Monday noon tip-off does not keep Marquette fans and Iggy away, as the Marquette women's basketball team plays its 3rd consecutive home game against Southern University.
We knew this was going to be a challenge for us. Southern coming into our building, just a great team. They're going to have a really good season, I think, down the road. And we've been on a long stretch, so it was just really important that we found any possible way to get this win. I thought we had some great contributions, some good balance.
The Golden Eagles start out slow, allowing 6 turnovers early, but a 3-pointer from graduate student guard Kristen McLaughlin gives momentum heading into quarter 2.
We turned the ball over way too much, and kind of a lot of wacky turnovers, travels, charges, bobbling the ball.
In the second quarter, Marquette adds just 10 points. 6 coming from sophomore forward Liza Carlin, who had a career high of 12 points on the day. The Gold Eagles defense wakes up in the second half, pressuring Southern into turnovers and shot clock violations. Marquette continues to increase its lead in the fourth, emerging victorious with a score of 65-40.
We just need some rest. We're going to give them a day off and let them get caught up with school. And I think a little bit of that was some fatigue. So we'll reset ourselves, coaches and players included.
Redshirt junior forward Chloe Murata earns her 3rd career double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds.
I'm happy with how we came out, handled it, especially in that 3rd quarter, turned stuff around and defended pretty well.
Marquette travels to the University of Colorado for its next game on Friday.
I'm excited to go on our first road trip, see how that is for a couple of our youngins too, and I think it'll be exciting.
Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, I'm Molly Gretzlock, Marquette Wire.
We now welcome in women's basketball beat reporter Jackson Gross. Jackson, it's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me back on, Ava.
Now, as we just saw, the team has started the season hot with a 3-game win streak. What has impressed you so far about this squad?
Well, you can't talk about Marquette women's basketball without the new grad transfer, Carissa McLaughlin. She's been fantastic from 3 to start the year, 9 of 20 from beyond the arc. She's given the offense another dimension to it. They're still trying to figure things out, but being able to space the floor for players like Lauren Banks-Noonan or Chloe Murata has been huge. Someone that hasn't been talked about enough has been Danielle Middleton. While the scoring hasn't been there, at this point, Coach Duffy told us that she's been one of the most improved, if not the most improved, from that freshman class last year. So she's been really big for them to start the year.
Now, you mentioned Chloe Murata a little bit, and what a versatile player she is. Looking forward, this redshirt junior, she's been putting up career numbers in her first 3 games. How big of an asset is a veteran like her to this team?
Well, for her, it's versatility and defensive and rebounding in general. She has more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds to start the year. And talking about that versatility, not only can she play a little bit of the forward on the down low, but she can also play out on the wing. She's been trying to expand her range from three-pointers. She had that 1-3 Friday night against New Jersey Institute of Technology. She's just a huge asset for them. She's getting a little bit better playmaking-wise. She did have 8 or 9 turnovers against Southern, but overall she's averaging 7 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. So she's just continuing to grow as a player throughout her Marquette career.
Now, as we look ahead further into the season, Marquette will have its first road trip of the season. What will this team need to do to maintain its early success?
Well, it's definitely going to be a step up in competition from their first 3 games. No disrespect to those other teams, but you're talking about 2 teams who are receiving votes in Colorado and Georgia. Colorado only receiving 5 votes, but they got 2 really solid players. Maya Hollingshed, she was a Pac-12 all-first team last year. She's going to be difficult for them. And then Jalen Sherrod, she's really going to be a challenge for them on the guard spot. She was part of the all-Pac-12 defensive team last year. And then looking at Georgia, they're unofficially number 27. They're going to be a real challenge to that tournament down in Florida. And Quay Morrison, she was co-defensive player of the year in the SEC. She's really going to challenge those guards, Jordan King, Chris McLaughlin. So it's going to be up to some of those other players to step up. And then Jenna Stotty, she's been their leading scorer for Georgia. She's also going to be a problem down low for them, for Lauren Van Clunen and the rest of the bigs.
Well, Jackson, your knowledge of all women's basketball never ceases to amaze me. So thank you for coming on the show. And in a minute, we will debrief the latest news around the NFL and the NBA. So, Marquette, don't go anywhere.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It all can get so out of control. Sometimes you can lose your faith, you can lose your mind, lose your grip, get stripped of your pride till you don't know how you're gonna stay alive. Hey, hey, I got you. I will give you what you need, and I'll be right there. I got you back. I got you.
And we're back in Studio 7 as we will talk about Week 9 of the NFL and the latest around the NBA. Joining me on the panel tonight is Matt Yazel, Tim Latoe, and Richie Lyons. Let's get started. We witnessed the first tie in the NFL this season after the Steelers and Lions were unable to score in overtime. Detroit remains winless through 9 weeks of action. Will the Lions win a game this season? Matt, let's start with you.
Well, Aiden, I'm going to go with a big fat no. I think the Lions are just plain bad. Now, I will say they've had a few unlucky breaks here and there. They played the Ravens and lost on a pretty incredible 66-yard field goal from Justin Tucker. And they've had a few other close games. They actually hung in there with the Rams, which was surprising. But I just don't like anything about this team other than DeAndre Swift, who's a talented young running back. But Jared Goff has been a disappointment for them for sure in that trade they made for Matthew Stafford, who obviously wanted out of town. But their defense, they lost Jeff Okudah, who's a first-round cornerback they took not too long ago. There's just not much there, Aiden. And there's never going to be a game they have this season where I'm like, they're better than the other team, because they're just not. Even with some of the, like, they're going to play the Bears, they're going to play some other teams in there, the Vikings, who have struggled this season, but I just don't see it.
Well, on the other side of the panel, Richie is a Steelers fan. You watched this team for 4 quarters this weekend. How do you feel about Detroit the rest of the season?
Well, I watched them for 5 quarters because it did go to overtime. And
That's right.
Even worse.
Yeah. It was an ugly game. Heinz Field's the worst field in the NFL. It got played on by Pitt the day before, awful condition. Outside numbers, you couldn't run. All the wide receivers trying to make moves, and they just kept falling. The ball was slippery. A lot of fumbles in overtime that we saw. Hardest stadium to kick in, so the kickers were not making anything. And this was Detroit's best chance to win this season, to be honest. I mean, the Steelers, both their guards got injured. Joe Hayden got injured. TJ Watt got injured. Chase Claypool wasn't playing.
Mason Rudolph.
And we had to put in Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
The only quarterback to play last week that was worse than Jared Goff was Mason Rudolph.
Yep, that's for sure.
And the Lions need these weather games. These games where you can't pass the ball because Jared Goff threw like 12 times. And you need that because you do not want Jared Goff throwing the football. If we've learned anything from the Lions this year, is that Jared Goff was just a system quarterback under McVay, and he's trash.
They're probably going to use the number 1 pick they're going to get to pick a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the games I have circled on the Lions' schedule is Thanksgiving Day at home. They're always in Detroit against the Bears, Tim's team. Tim, how do you feel about the Lions the rest of this year?
You know, I think that might be one of their opportunities to finally get a win. The Lions, you know, they might, you know, win a game or two, but what else is new? You know, they're at the bottom of the league again. And certainly both for their offense and defense in terms of points scored and points allowed. They're down there, I think, 29th for their offense and 30th for the defense. So they're struggling on both ends of the field. That trade certainly did not work out at all.
That's right.
But, you know, I think win or lose a game this season, pretty soon we're going to start calling the Lions the House Cats.
Well, it looks like we're a bear market on the Lions right here on this panel. Let's move to another NFC North team, the Packers, where Aaron Rodgers stole the headlines around the league, not for his play on the field, but for something else. He misled the public about his COVID-19 vaccination status. So do you think the NFL gave him and the Packers a fair punishment? Richie, let's start with you.
He got fined $15,000. Like, that is nothing to a guy like Aaron Rodgers. That is nothing. He has all these kids that look up to him. He's a role model to a lot of people, and he just lies about this. And I know he's like, oh, you know, technically I didn't say this and that, but like he implied it. You could tell. And
fancy wordplay.
It would have been better if he was open about it before, but $15,000 is nothing. I mean, DK Metcalf got fined $8,000 for hugging a goalpost. And DK Metcalf's on a rookie deal making nothing. He's making probably less than like a quarter of what Aaron Rodgers is making. It's just ridiculous.
Tim, how do you feel about Rodgers' punishment?
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of self-centered in my opinion to do that. He is not wearing a mask when he's interacting with those reporters indoors, and that's certainly, you know, something that is putting those reporters at risk if they have, you know, family members who are immunocompromised or they're themselves, as well as any teammates. You know, hopefully his teammates knew, but honesty is the best policy. It'd be better if everyone knew, and if he would, you know, put a mask on and follow protocols. If he doesn't want to get vaccinated, there's not a mandate for that in the NFL, but it's certainly something that you know, he needs to follow the rules.
And it's just such a confusing story, kind of. The reports were that supposedly the NFL and the Packers knew he wasn't vaccinated, even with that fancy wordplay he used to make the media think he was.
Being immunized.
Yeah, and oh my goodness. And then, but suddenly he's not following this protocol with the media. Now, I think there's other quarterbacks that aren't vaccinated. Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz. He's not the only guy out there, and who knows if they've been following the protocols all season or what. But I can't defend Aaron Rodgers right now. I'm a Packer fan. I'll raise my hand and say I've loved Aaron Rodgers my whole life. I can't defend what he's doing right now. I think it was incredibly self-centered. That was a great point. I think it's disappointing. To your point, there's a lot of kids that look up to Aaron Rodgers, and it's just hard to get behind that. And he wants the blame to be on everybody else but himself with that Pat McAfee interview appearance he did afterwards. He just wants to think everyone's against him, and that's just not the case. It's his fault. He should have just owned up to it, and it would have made the situation go away. But it is what it is at this point.
All right, so we spent time on the NFC North up in the Midwest. Let's move to the West Coast, some nicer weather, and the NBA, where the Golden State Warriors boast a league-best 11-2 record right now. Are they back to being championship contenders? Tim, let's start with you.
They're certainly on the right track. Definitely, when you see a team go 11-2, that gets you excited. I know in past years, when they've made it to the championship, they've typically started off 11-2 or 10-3. So they've done well in recent years with that type of record. Steph Curry, he's definitely stepping it up again and can take his team all the way. So they definitely have the potential to. I think they also got some competition out west though from the Phoenix Suns, who are at 10-3 on a 9-game winning streak. We'll see what Booker can do for them.
They almost lost to the Timberwolves, man. Like, come on. Boy. If the refs, oh man. Leaving that cat, that tack on his birthday,
Oh my goodness.
It's going to turn into a referee segment. You have some heavy thoughts on him?
It's just ridiculous. And the Suns have not been as good this year as they were last year. DeAndre Ayton, of course, is just coming back from injury, but he looks slow. He does not look good. I mean, the refs gave Cat 5 personal fouls like right away. And for nothing, because DeAndre Ayton is a physical center, so you do have to get physical playing, and they don't just let them play. But back to the Warriors.
I was going to say, we're talking about the Timberwolves right now.
Yeah, the Warriors.
Let's get your thoughts on Golden State.
Warriors, they say strength in numbers is their motto, and they have it this year. Gary Payton II has been amazing this year. And before the year started, I was thinking Giannis is the best player in the NBA. But I think it's Steph Curry now. You just can't guard him. You just cannot guard Steph Curry. It's impossible. And I still think they're a playoff contender without Clay and Wiseman coming back right now.
You sound like you disagree, Matt.
Playoff contender or championship contender?
Championship contender.
Okay. That's interesting. I was just going to say, the discussion around this Golden State team is everybody's waiting for Clay and Wiseman to come back, particularly Clay. Because if they come back, then they're a championship contender in everyone's eyes. I'm not expecting anything from Klay Thompson right now. I'm not. I mean, the guy has had multiple knee injuries, has hardly played the last 2 years. I mean, if he can just stand still in the corner and get an open three, great. I'm not expecting much out of him. Wiseman, on the other hand, he hasn't really gotten there yet as a player, but he's an exciting prospect, and they need help down low because when they're playing, there's a lot of talented teams out west that got good bigs. You mentioned DeAndre Ayton. You got Jokic out in Denver. The West is still a stacked conference. I know the Lakers haven't been great this year, but they're still the Lakers. They still got Anthony Davis.
Yeah, they also have Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, that's a discussion for another time. Overall, Steph Curry's an MVP. He can take his team to great places. Not a championship contender for me yet, though, Aiden.
More discussions for another day. That's right. But that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for the great discussion, gentlemen. We're out of time, but be sure to tune in next week for all our coverage of Marquette sports and more. For Ava Maris, I'm Aiden Hatton. Good night, Marquette.